Hey, what's up, y'all? This your girl, Shea Marriott from Rebirth Podcast. Make sure you tune in tonight's podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We're going to be talking to Oya Gilbert. All right? Tune in.
Out of the ashes we will soar to a destiny we can't ignore. Heartbeats echo through the night with every dream and endless flight. Together strong, let's break the mold. Our rebirth and stories told. It's time to renew, rebuild, restore. Unlock the dreams we've been waiting for. Rise up higher, more and more. With every breath, a new dawn's roar.
Good evening. Happy Monday. Welcome to Rebirth Podcast. I'm your host, Shea Marriott.
And I am Corey Wilkerson, a.k.a. The Thinker.
Hey, The Thinker.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. Listen, before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You do not want to miss tonight's podcast. We have an amazing guest coming up. But before we get started, how was your weekend?
It wasn't bad. It was good.
Yeah?
I had a good weekend. Cruising into this mild weather. It wasn't too crazy cold today. I mean, it was chilly, but it wasn't crazy cold.
It was a nice day today. Yeah. And I'm so looking forward to the warm weather.
Yeah. 56, almost 60 Wednesday and Thursday.
Yeah. So, I'm really looking forward to
absolutely. Can start to get my walking back.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah. So welcome everybody. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a good weekend.
I can see that.
I had a good weekend. Yes. I got a chance to spend my weekend in the Poconos with some amazing ladies celebrating my sister, my girlfriend, Julie Morton. Happy 50th birthday to Julie.
Happy 50th.
That's my chica.
Uh-oh.
We had a good time. And ladies, if you're watching, I just want to say to you, boy, we had a time over the weekend.
I can tell. Anytime you get
we had a good time. We did. We really did. And I was actually new to the group. Okay. So the only person I did know was Julie and her daughter.
Okay.
And her son. But everybody else I was new to. And it was just great being in good company with some amazing ladies that are doing some great things.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
So I definitely wanted to shout them out.
Anytime y'all have, women that almost match pajamas perfectly, that's something about that.
That was our brunch in pink.
Was that what that was?
Yeah, that was our brunch in pink.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a really good time.
Women organize, y'all.
Yes.
Be mindful.
Yes, for
That's
sure.
Cool, though. Let's do.
Yeah. Cool. So what's going on in the world? How are you hanging?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. I've learned to take my news in doses.
Right. You have
I
to.
Definitely have to. I haven't been tuning into as much news, but I definitely take it in doses as much as I can. But I'm still astounded.
What type of strategies do you use to kind of manage your mental health, especially during this time? Because things are really hard right now.
Yeah, things are hard
for a lot of people.
I think I think for sure I pay attention to what I want to pay attention to, but I'm also mindful of what is going to distract me and take me through a hard time. I definitely am staying out of the news, like the CNNs, the Foxes, and all of that. I take it here and there, but I also pay attention to the things that feed me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So whether that's family, whether that's something that makes me laugh, obviously I definitely jump into. Sometimes I go to sleep with like a spiritual podcast or something like that.
Okay.
I just believe as the things that you put in your system as you sleep.
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
I
agree.
Will speak to you. And what I notice is that when you consume a lot of mess going to sleep, your dreams come and you may not sleep as much. Your brain is super busy. But I notice that when I may listen to maybe like a sermon, I sleep way better.
Yeah.
Right. And I wake up different as well. Right. So those are the things I pay attention to. I think in the mornings, I try not to touch my phone for the first 45 minutes.
Okay.
Right. So whether I'm just laying there, I don't do anything. I just kind of just sit
What
there.
about at night?
I have a hard time at night. Because the thing is what's hard is I have to figure out a different way to consume either my podcast or whatever, because
Gotcha.
if I'm on my phone, because I usually get it from my phone,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to get distracted in
Mm-hmm.
text or look at something different
Mm-hmm.
while I'm listening. So I got to figure that part out.
Yeah.
The next step will be like putting my phone on the other side of the room so I can sleep.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll figure it out though. But
I think it's important.
Yeah.
I think right now we all have to really kind of share ideals as to what are we doing to maintain our mental health. What type of boundaries are we putting in place for ourselves, to make sure that we stay healthy mentally.
For sure.
I know for myself, I've started back practicing yoga in the mornings.
I seen that.
Yeah. So in a warmer months, I like to do yoga in my backyard.
Okay.
I'll get up early in the morning, make my coffee, and I'll go on my deck and I'll do yoga, right? And I kind of stopped once it got cold and all of that. So I just start implementing that again in the mornings, but I also do a bedtime yoga now. I started that 2 weeks ago. So I do it twice, once in the morning, once at night. And that's helping me, relax and helping me maintain my mental health and trying to get my peace back, right? Because it has been very, very taxing with everything that's going on. And people are going through it. People.
And I noticed, I think you posted a video, right? And I seen Shea on the floor with her legs. I can't even do that. Legs all bent over. She double jointed her.
I'm definitely not double jointed.
She got like a knee replacement. I didn't know how that happened. I was like, okay. I try to get in the floor and do it. I was like, nah.
I'll show you.
I'll do it like
we'll
this.
have a yoga session.
Yeah,
one night.
sure.
We'll have a yoga
Leave
session.
mine stretched out.
Yes.
But that's awesome, though. That's cool.
Yeah, it's important. So for everybody that's tuned in tonight, how do you maintain your mental health? What are you doing during this season to protect your mental health, to practice your peace? Put it in the chat if you can. I would love to know. It's important to share this information because maybe they're doing something that I might want to try, right? And you said you listen to spiritual podcasts.
Yeah.
So do you know off the top of your head what's the name of the podcast?
So I mean, it's based off of who I like to listen to. So whether it's TD Jakes, whether it's Keon Henderson, a couple of those I'll definitely listen to. But I also I'll just hit my YouTube and whatever sermon that comes up, I take it as a sign that's what God wants me to listen to.
Oh, okay.
And I just play it.
Okay, I like that.
Just press play.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Okay.
But I'll definitely just also challenge everybody that this is a calling for us to come back together.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And start to ask for help. Share the things that, like to your point, what we're doing to practice our peace. And if more than ever than any other time that we've there's a time for us to walk together as a group.
Absolutely. Sure. It's very important
because it's a lot going on.
Yeah. So we all know, well, I've been sharing with everybody that my word for 2025 is healing.
Yes.
And I've been practicing my own healing journey. I also shared a couple weeks ago that I had went through a major surgery. I had spine surgery. So I've been really physically just trying to heal and get back to normal, right? And get back to the way I was functioning. But I also realized that might not be the case. Getting back to, because we like to use that a lot. I want to get back to how I was, but no, I want to understand what my new normal is.
For sure. Yeah.
My new way of functioning and being able to really embrace that. So Frank Burton says exercise, prayer, studying, and self-reflection. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. Exercise is key. I don't care what form of exercise you do something. Move.
Yes.
Move, because it definitely wakes up and move those chemicals, and it does help you feel better.
30 minutes or more, at least.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sure. Thank you so much. Yes. Anybody else want to share what they do to maintain their mental health, to help them through this time? It's important. We'll be looking at the chat and see what you guys are putting in there. And prayer is important as well.
Absolutely.
I pray all day, every day.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
Yeah. All day, every day. So we have an amazing guest. Yes.
Yeah. So you're infusing a little hip hop, Shay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hip hop.
Okay.
Hip hop.
She said hip hop. I hear that.
Listen,
I
yes.
hear that.
I love hip hop, especially old school hip hop.
Do you?
I do. Why you look at me like that?
I just asked the question. Do
Oh,
you?
you
I felt
surprised.
attacked. What kind of hip hop you into?
Like you surprised.
So-
Simone Burke Cousin says, talk to my therapist, my best friend, beginner's yoga, prayer, Epsom salt baths with spa music, massages, and reading at least one self-help book per month. I have been doing the most. She put LOL. But with the stress and pressure of today, personally and otherwise, I need it. Amen to that.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you for
Absolutely.
sharing, Simone.
That's awesome. That's
All
awesome.
right. Okay, let's move to our guest. I'm excited to talk to him.
So, Health, Hope, and Hip Hop Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's cue him up. So, Oya Gilbert, we have him on. There he is.
Hello.
Sir. How are you? You might be on mute.
See, you would think I know how to work this type of technology. But
That's the new normal too, though. You on mute. We gotta coin that phrase.
You really got to be careful. Got to keep that mute button, so it's like a habit. So I apologize. But
No, that's all good.
It's okay.
Thanks for
It's all
having me.
good.
Thanks for having
Yes.
me.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Rebirth. We're excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here. Very, very excited. And you did say my name right, so that's dope.
Yes.
Perfect. You made it easier for us. That's awesome. So talk to us about your foundation. Well, the first question I have before we get into that, right? So I don't know if you all are familiar with the movie Brown Sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since we're all hip hop fans, I assume, right?
Yes, I said I love hip hop.
I agree. But you see Shay's hip hop side, like when she let her hair down.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, you
Here
had to
we
see her
go.
at the last event we had.
Oh,
She was
wow.
like pouring the drinks, and I was like, look at him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So my
Okay.
first question for you, and then we'll pass it to Shay, and then I'll come to me. When did you first fall in love with hip hop?
Mm.
Ooh, I mean, that's really, easy. So, yeah, God. I mean, just the break dance and the pop lock and the Sugar Hill Gang, the times where the song was like 8 minutes, you know what I mean? The song was 8 minutes, and you rocked out the whole 8 minutes. You didn't take a break or nothing. But I guess like taking it serious like hip hop was for me, also being an artist myself and writing, I took it real serious when Karis One and Big Daddy Kane. Those are like my two idols that got me going. Karis One allowed me to feel okay to be smart on the mic. Back then, Karis One was a rapper. And I was sort of like a nerd. I was a nerd in school. So my rhymes was intelligent, but I also had I love the metaphors that Big Daddy Kane. I love the swag and all that. So yeah, that's when I kind of fell completely in love with hip hop at that point.
Awesome.
That's dope. That's
Shay,
dope.
as a hip hop fan,
Whatever.
when did you fall in love with hip hop?
This interview is about him. It ain't about me.
I just want to know. Name the artist, the time, the place, the car.
To be honest, my
He
uncle.
said the car.
Could be the car.
Did
Jay
you say
said
car?
it could be the car. Like
Oh, my
sometimes you see the
Lord.
car, you be like, you know what?
My uncle was a DJ.
Okay.
So at a very shout out to Uncle Art. At a very young age, he was sneaking me into these parties where he would DJ at, right? And I would be back there pulling out the albums. This is when they was using actually
records,
real,
Right.
And I don't know. I grew up with music, period.
Yeah.
My mother's an organist. I'm a singer.
Right.
So the music first of all, you know.
for
So
sure.
I have to say my roots come from gospel.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And then everything else. Right. So I was introduced to hip hop because my uncle would have these he didn't want us to go out trick-or-treating. Right. So he would have Halloween parties in the back of my grandmother's house.
Oh,
And
Red Light
yeah.
Oh, you said in the back of the house. My fault. I'm thinking about the basement party. Sorry, my fault.
Could have been peeking.
And the cool thing is that this is the song comes in my mind. We're playing basketball.
Okay.
We're playing
Playing
basketball. Remember that? Yeah. He will always play that, right?
Curtis Blow.
That's
Curtis Blow.
Yes. Curtis Blow, Sugar Hill Gang, all of that
Right.
was introduced to me at a very, very young age. And it's just been with me ever since. And ironically, KRS-One and Big Daddy Kane is also one of my favorites as well.
Hey man, great
So from
minds
back
think
in the
alike.
day.
Great minds
Yeah.
think alike.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So can you share with us, I guess, your history? You said artist and songwriter as well.
Sure. So like, I guess in the tri-state area, Delaware area, back in the day, I was part of a project called, no pun intended, it was called Project X, Armed and Dangerous. And so I got an opportunity to work with some fantastic artists. I was able to produce a lot of it. I produced a lot of material on there, Riverside Bucket 26. So at that time frame, I was just a young kid just trying to have fun, fell in love with hip hop. It saved my life. I didn't know the impact it was going to have, locally, thinking about it years later when we've had a couple events in the past few years, kind of showcasing and highlighting the impact of that hip hop time frame for me. So that's what it was for me. So when I was younger, about 18, I came out with a record called Project X. It did really well. And I just did hip hop music in the background because it was very cathartic for me for my entire life. I've always had a studio where I'm at, always worked on music. And even though I wasn't in like the public's eye, I matured and grew with hip hop as it matured and grew. But nothing can replace the golden era of hip hop, which is what, my foundation is about.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So speaking of your foundation, let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, so it's the Health, Hope, and Hip Hop Foundation.
Yes.
And I kind of, just to give people a background on how I got started, in 2015, started experiencing some, what I consider more like health issues, what I thought it was a heart attack, basically. And so at that time frame, I did everything what everybody else do. I called 911. Come to find out that that was not the case. So fast forward, I live in a very rural, predominantly white area. I started having these episodes more and more, fatigue. And so the short version is I kept getting more sick, seeing doctors, and they started labeling me as like a hypochondriac, like I was looking for drugs. I just couldn't really get any answers, but I was slowly getting more sick. What eventually wound up happening is I decided to increase my life insurance policy because I knew I was going to die. And that's when I was diagnosed with the cancer that I have, which is called multiple myeloma. It is incurable. There's no cure for it yet. However, in today's times, it's 2025, it is a very treatable disease and to live with a good quality of life. So that was the spark of starting the foundation. It didn't start right then, but that's the journey that was the seed to the foundation later as I tried to navigate and chase down my own health and figure out how to survive this disease. I started discovering disparities, and then the foundation was formed in a time frame where I was trying to do two passionate things at the same time. I love hip hop. And then I fell in love with advocating for people and about our health. And so I asked God, how do I do both? Which is, I'm a firm believer in God with the same type of passion. And he said, you can do both. And that's how the foundation was born, to use hip hop to teach health literacy in underrepresented communities, to advocate for themselves in Black and Brown communities. But to be perfectly transparent, there's underrepresented communities in all ethnicities, and hip hop is a great vehicle that touches every facet of the world.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow. That's amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
I don't get too deep with it. I mean,
No.
It was good. You actually answered my first question that I had for you. So
I was actually to dive deeper into that. When you talk about the underserved communities for, obviously for Black and Brown people, can you talk a little bit more about that, what you've discovered around that? Yeah.
So the dynamics, I didn't realize, I had never really been sick my entire life. Just, regular stuff that we have, never broke any bones. And what I started discovering is I didn't realize I was living in that time frame, a disparity in itself. And so as I got more educated about my disease, I didn't take it really on a surface level. I started joining different steering committees, started working with big pharmaceutical companies, I got a great opportunity to become a support group leader through the International Myeloma Foundation, and through that relationship, it became a partnership with my foundation and helped me build that. Being as though coming up in March is Myeloma Action Month. But just so you understand, before we get too far away from it, a lot of people don't know what myeloma is. So let me explain that.
I was about to ask you that. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I got this. I got y'all. The point is multiple myeloma, which is a lot of times in our community confused with melanoma, which is a skin cancer. But myeloma is the plasma cells of our bone marrow. They become cancerous. And what winds up happening is these cancerous cells then begin to eat away or erode at your bones, which weakens them. And so then that puts you in a position to be very compromised. It also attacks the immune system. Pretty much its typical place of attacking is the kidneys, which then could lead to renal kidney failure. So it's a very nasty blood cancer.
Wow.
But in a short version, for people to not get super technical with it, it's cancerous plasma cells of your bone marrow that wind up eating away at your bones. So that's what the disease is.
Wow. Thank you for clarifying that for us.
No
that
worries.
way people have a deeper understanding, as well as ourselves as
Yeah,
well.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, one of the things I was, as you kind of were talking, you said you hadn't been sick your whole entire life. So, that kind of leads me like to early detection, right? Like, how often, especially from a Black and brown community, especially as men, right?
Right.
I think women tend to go to the doctor probably way more frequent than a man does. For us, we have a fear of the doctor, number one, right? Especially as we get older, there's things that we have to get checked that we have more of a fear of, right?
Correct.
So can you talk a little bit more, just early detection, the importance of having regular checkups, right?
Yes.
And what that means for us from a community overall.
Yeah. So like with multiple myeloma, it affects Black people 2 to 1 than white people. And as you just said, it just seems like when it comes to us, the disparity needle, that ratio always doesn't come out in our favor. And it is important for early detection. And historically, as Black men, like you said, we don't tend to go to the doctors, and we have to stop using the ER as our PCP. And even when we know something's wrong, we've got to really get to the root cause, which is something that we do. Our foundation has a podcast, and it specifically focuses on Black men for that fact of addressing those deeper issues. Like, why don't you go to the doctors? Like, I got a couple of homies that I asked him why you don't go to the doctors. He says he don't want to know. And I mean, like, so it's not always, I mean, what do you mean you don't want to know? Like, you're going to find out regardless. So we got to really break that stigma and stereotype. I call it the stinking thinking that we have as men in our health. And the early detection portion of it is that what we don't understand is a lot of times we respond better to a lot of therapies than other ethnicities. That's the thing that's crazy. But we just don't go to the doctors. So early detection is critical to put you in a position to have a better quality of life. The sooner you can find out about anything, the better off you is. And it's not just about health. That's anything better off.
Yeah. I think you make a great point. As it seems like to me over the last 2 years, it may be even longer, but I just started to definitely pay attention. A lot of us as Black men ain't making it past our 50s, right? When you think about hip hop, right, and you think about how many people we've lost, but in our 40s and 50s, I think Irv Gotti just passed away in his 50s, right? Correct. And as I kind of just look back at, he had a massive stroke, which he had one prior, I think last year, maybe, and then he had another. But he also had diabetes that he got diagnosed in his 40s. And when you listen to his brother speak, right, he didn't like going to the doctor. And even when they asked him about, hey, like, do you have this under control? And he was just like, no, right? Yeah. And he didn't want to go to the doctor. And his thing was, I'm just going to live, right? And he sadly, left super early, right? And I forget how old he was, 52, 54, something like that. Super early. And again, not wanting to go to the doctor. You think about, I think it was who was it? Heavy D passed away. I think he was 44. Right.
Well,
Biz
Fat
Markie.
Man, even Fat Man Scoop.
Fat Man Scoop. Yeah.
Fat
You
Man
know,
Scoop,
so he's
yeah.
just
for sure.
Clark Kent. So you know, there's a ton of and I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
There's a ton of hip hop greats, which is, again, it's just the right time, even for, like I said, for this foundation and what we're trying to do is that importance, because it is that age bracket, that demographic of us that, I came up in that same era where, I bumped my head, my family would tell me put a cold towel on my forehead and lay down somewhere,
right.
But we could have had a concussion. I mean, but the point is that's the era we came for, and it's not their fault. It's what they knew at the time. But like I said, in 2025, I'm speaking especially to us men. If we know better, we got to do better, and it's important. And I'll say this, and I hate for it to sound so hard, but it's reality. Is I really think that when we do this as men, no matter what ethnicity it is, I think it's a very, very selfish act, to be very transparent with you, because at the end of the day, there's other people, to hide it from your significant other, or just to know and don't do nothing about it. There's people that are dependent on you. And in our age bracket, you got your children might be grown, but they still love and care about you and need, that wisdom. You got your grandchildren. Those people are dependent on you, and you making, singular decisions about your health. And so that's why I said like that. And I don't mean to sound harsh, but that's the reality. And sometimes we need to really hear it like that.
Absolutely.
Which I think is important.
Absolutely.
For sure.
I want to share some of the comments we have coming in. Thank you, everybody who is submitting comments. Esquire Dream says, "Oh yeah, thank you for your hard work, your foundation, and your transparency." Shelby Carey says, "OG with a heart." Frank Burton Jr. says, "Great point, brother. As a Black man, we've got to stop with the nonsense, thinking of not wanting to know." Yes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Early detection saved my life. That was from Frank Burton Jr.
Yeah.
Congratulations for that. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's so important. Now, I'm going to mess up this name, but it's Excel Originals, I believe. They said Fat Man Scoop, Prince, Marky D, DJ K Slay, Ecstasy from Houdini, and so many others.
That's true. So that is excellent. It's a long laundry list. And even the crazy thing is, one of the powerful things I've learned recently is Guru from Gangstar passed away back then from the disease that we have. It's just that, it was something that, once again, we didn't talk about. And, once again, everybody has a right if they don't. But I think it's important to share this stuff, because once you could share some information that could create, early detection that could save a multitude of people's lives. And so I think that's what's important. And it's definitely the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Absolutely. And we thank you for that. So the one thing you had mentioned about hip hop, what do we love about hip hop? Hip hop has always, I know since I was little, I've always seen hip hop play a role of advocating and educating our community.
Correct.
So we went through the of course, always the drug era where they was educating us about that, educating us about AIDS, educating us about voting. There's always been a level of advocacy with hip hop.
Yeah,
true.
Right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at I think it was a documentary I was looking at, and they were to your point. We always are the heartbeat of what's going on in culture. If you remember, Stop the Violence, right? That was a big one.
Right.
It came out with Self-Destruction. Remember Self-Destruction?
Yes.
Remember that song?
Yes.
Right.
On the West Coast, we're all in the same gang, if you remember.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's such a moment for us today to bring some of those things back. But do it in such a definitely a innovative way. And I think that you're also, one of those folks that are starting to do that. And we need to make sure that we're advocating for what you're doing and making it bigger and louder. Because there's at 50 something years old and 40 something years old to not take your health seriously. It's cool to grow old. Right. It's cool to grow old, right?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Nothing wrong. It's cool to have gray.
Right. Exactly. I mean,
Absolutely.
you make a great point. Like so that's a great segue to kind of explain to you like some of the things going on with the foundation. So you mentioned about that era. So it's nothing wrong with the current day. I won't knock current day hip hop, but to be perfectly transparent, today's hip hop does not teach our community anything, to be honest with you. And so I say the golden era in the sense that where hip hop, its original format, a voice for the people, like he said, a way to express ourselves. If you wanted to be happy, you bought albums like Jazzy Jeff and them and all that, and that's the kind of music you heard from them. Like you said, you wanted to get militant, you got Public Enemy, X-Clan, that type of thing. So it's the same concept. I thought to myself from a foundational standpoint, how do we harness hip hop, since in some third world countries, they don't even have running water, but they know TikTok dances and all those things. So it's just really about how do we harness it and use it in a way for positive. So I thought about the golden era of hip hop and it was storytelling. And if you think about the song from Salt and Pepper, Let's Talk About Sex, bring awareness to HIV during that time frame. That same concept is what we're doing as a foundation. We just got sponsorship to do a song to create policy change when it comes to making treatment for all patients affordable. It's something that was sponsored by Pfizer, but it's a hip hop song that we made that's really dope, and we'll be dropping that soon. But that's one ideal of the concept of what that is. And then the other portion of it, the community portion of it, is to have what we call Health, Hope, and Hip Hop block parties. And that is another facet of what the foundation does, because if you think about what you talked about, early detection, prevention is really what we're searching for. I'm not sitting here telling people to go take drugs. Ideally, I didn't, like I told you, I really didn't have anything or had no major illnesses. So I didn't really deserve, I would say, or earn this cancer. However, it's here. So I certainly need to do some kind of medication aspect of it, some treatment. But the point is to reach those people who aren't sick. We, as Black people, we're not coming to nothing that's called a summit, symposium, forum. We ain't coming to that unless we, engage with it. We want to go to the doctors when we're sick. So why would we do that? But when you hear the word block party, I come from a block where I didn't see two sides of town shut it down just to go to the block party. So it's about creating this very receptive atmosphere where all the communities come together to this one-stop shop event where we have as many we have as many entities there to address disparities that prevent people from good health at this one location. So instead of having all these smaller satellite events all across the different city, we're going to bring all the hoods centralized to this one place and say, hey, come here, have a great time, like we do at block parties. And as you know, good information gets passed around. We have a great time. So it's the ability to have entertainment and education and find a happy balance to have edutainment. That is what our foundation is doing as a block party. And we launching it with a ball. And that's it's called the Hip Hop Ball, which is this Friday, the 28th.
I love this. Awesome. That's a great idea. And it sounds like a very powerful initiative that you're doing. So what can people expect from the event and how can the community get involved?
So the people that are attending, so there's still an opportunity to come. Right now we have seats still available that are just coming to have a great time with the after event and the party that's happening afterwards. But what they can expect at this event is bringing together community mixed with industry and everything in between to create this atmosphere of fellowship to understand what we need to do to get a better quality of health inside the community to address some of these disparities. So it'll be everything from government people there to hip hop entertainers there to grassroots advocates, all in this one room to fellowship. And what it is a mini version of what the block party to come is to be. And so they can get a version of that and see that. And then also at the ball, it's a version of what the foundation is doing, has been doing, and what we're going to do. And once again, like at the ball, you're going to see the first drop of the first health advocacy song addressing equal treatment for all patients. So it's going to be real dope. Deshaun Jackson is going to be there to speak. We're going to welcome him to Delaware. Maybe he might bring Clinton Portis with him. That'd be dope. We're going to have a performance from a hip hop icon. I don't want to announce right now, but we're keeping it special because it's really a dope invitation only type thing. So we're excited about that. But people can expect to come there, have a really good time, get inspired, get ignited to do change, and run back out into the community. One of the things I want to emphasize about our foundation that's super important, what I think is different than a lot, is even after the block party, we plan to stay engaged in the community and create an ambassador team. And that's a lot of times where a lot of events come in and they're great, but they come in and leave and come back. We've seen that movie before. Our culture done seen it all. The ideal is to stay invested in that community. And that's the way. We got to stay in the trenches to build trust.
Right.
So it'll create jobs. And that's another thing our foundation is focused on, not just to bring people information, but to infuse finance into the community. So everything that we're doing that is to create the block party, to create if you think about erecting stages, is to engage in that community that we're in. And ideally, we're talking about ours for right now, Wilmington, Delaware. Engage in that community, find those people, preferably, African-American. But that doesn't mean that's where we'll stop. But funnel all of that in there. Our job is to provide the expertise to execute the events and bring the information to the community.
That's
Love
awesome.
it.
That's awesome.
Love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've been like, really, me and Shea have been talking about. So like for us, we've done, this will be number 6 in 2025, right? So we've done live podcasts and brought live podcasts to Delaware, right? And I think as we continue to do some of these initiatives, what you're doing, what we're trying to do from a mental health perspective and normalizing conversation around how do we continue to improve not only each other, but our relationships with each other, family. This year, it's really circled around health and, thinking about how we can go back to our community and heal our community. Sometimes I'm sure we do. I'm sure you have also as you kind of started your foundation. But there's so many other folks that are out there that are trying to do some of the same things. How do we work together and build a force together? Because, they say that if you want to go far, you go together, right? In terms of sponsorships and places that we can reach out to get support in this realm, what things can you speak about or for not only for us, but other folks that are out there that are trying to kind of build in the same way that you're building?
So I would say a couple of things. One, the first and most important thing is we got to get the crabs in the basket mentality, get that off the plate. Like I'm always a root cause dude. Let's get that out the way first, then we can move forward. I would make suggestions, for instance, like joining chambers of commerce. And a lot of times, a lot of the cities have, Black Chamber of Commerce. Delaware has one. Joining those because that gives you a head start, and it's an investment. But if you're trying to do something, but you make that investment as a membership, so that immediately creates this one-stop shop, like I said, this ecosystem of people that can help, build what you are trying to do, whatever that might be in that space of whether it be nonprofit for mental health, or it could be to be a lawyer, whatever that may be. It's one of the resources that we use across as we navigate out. That's the first thing. Definitely, I would say do your research. There's a lot of different resources out there as far as grants is concerned that you can go to. I think it's really a good, important for you to find a great grant writer to help you out. And then as far as like the industry partners, I was blessed. To be in the right places. And sometimes you have to put yourself in a room with the right people if you want to get where you want to go. So that's the way I was always taught, in my regular professional life. And so that's what I did in this space. I went to the conventions that had people from all over the world, the smartest people, but all the farmers, all those people in one location. It might be a little pricey to get there, but it's a lot cheaper than trying to go to this location and that location. So what I did was I centralized the same concept I'm using with the foundation, but centralized where they would be so that I could have them all in one space and track folks down, set up meetings prior to, meet them where they're at in one location. So that's another suggestion I would give to folks. And you don't have to do it on such a large scale. They have smaller versions of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you start networking. Networking is everything.
It's key. Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Thank you for
Awesome.
sharing that.
Yeah.
So for people that are listening, we want to do a call to action, right? So the listeners who want to support your movement, who
Mhm.
wants to support the foundation and everything that you have going on, whether it's them attending the foundation or donating or spreading awareness, what's the best way for them to take action today?
The best way to take action today is you can go to
Okay.
www.healthhopehiphop.org. That is our foundation website. It's all one word. There's no hyphen.
Can you put
There,
that in the chat, please?
there you can spend some time. If you spend some time and navigate, you will see all kinds of different resources that you can use to figure out how to make a difference. When it comes to the ball, if you don't want to attend, we do have a great raffle going on. It's really a dope prize. There's 3 different prizes. The top prize is a trip to Puerto Rico and a nice stay at a Sonesta hotel and free flight. And so we're real excited about that. And that's the top prize. Then we have a nice purse for the ladies, a nice expensive purse. And then we got some stuff it could be for the fellas or the ladies. We got a jacket, so stuff from Volvo that was donated for the raffle. They're $25 a piece. I think it's a dope gift offer. It's about a $5,000 trip, so you can't beat that. So you can buy that online. Then we're gonna have a silent auction where we commissioned a local artist to draw some great portraits of some of those folks that you just said, some of the hip hop icons that we lost.
Nice.
And we're gonna once again infusing revenue into the community and use his art to raise funds on that note. So we have Guru DMX for his mental health, and then Biz Markie obviously was one of the other folks. And so that's how people can get involved. I would say from a just immediate standpoint, I would just say start listening to your body and making better choices as far as your health is concerned.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, you are definitely a walking testimony.
Yes, for sure.
You really are. Thank you for doing this, for setting this up and definitely having it here in Delaware.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Because
Yes.
everybody, we said there's nothing to do. There's something to do. So make sure you go out and support. Please share whatever else that we missed. If there's anything that we missed to ask you, I would love for you to just share that right now.
Yeah, sure. I just shared 2 things. One is you asked about how we could all get together. I think it's very important for everyone to understand. In today's, I think the best word I could say in today's political climate, I think it's even more important for us to bond together and stick together as nonprofits, as a different entity, especially in our culture, to achieve the goals, because we got a lot of stuff, a lot of things up against us that are not in our favor. And I think it's super important for us to put our differences aside, egos, and work together as different nonprofits to create or achieve a bigger goal, and collectively we can attack that beast. So that's my one thing. And then the last thing I would say, as far as the foundation and my disease is concerned, I don't think most people, I don't know if I said it earlier, but for 2 years I chased that. So I was that delayed diagnosis, and I was diagnosed the day after Christmas in 2017. I was told I was going to live 3 to 5 years. I'm in my 7th year now.
Look at that.
I've never relapsed. And I want to make sure that I say this before I go. I think you need a little bit of everything, but I'm going to have to say, you need God.
Yes.
God. And that God has been working through man since the beginning of time. So understand that I feel like we need a little bit of everything. I think we need holistically. I think we need medical, but I know for sure we need God.
We need God. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We've been talking about that. We've been talking about just strengthening the relationship with God over the last couple of episodes. So to hear you confirm that again is just so powerful. And it it's just meaningful. It really is. So I don't know you personally, brother, but I'm very proud of the work that you're doing, even with going through what you're going through.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm really proud of that, and I thank you for that. I thank you for that, because sometimes we feel that we have to heal first, or we
Mm.
have to figure some things out first before we can be a blessing to others, or before we can
Right.
start something.
Right.
And you're sitting here tonight, with all that you have gone through, all that you continue to go through, and you're giving back to the community, and you're doing something that's amazing. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Absolutely.
for those flowers. I appreciate it. I really do. And thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We appreciate you. And please let us know. Please make sure we put the flyer up and everything. Please let us know anything in the future, how we can support you, how we can support the foundation moving forward. We will greatly appreciate it. But again, thank you for everything, Corey.
Yes, I mean, just an inspiration. I'm blown away by what you're
Mm-hmm.
you're doing. I appreciate you being so transparent with your condition, the foundation, how other folks can help, how we can support, how we can continue to fight,
Mm-hmm.
and even in our own way that we're doing it, right. And I think that's super important. But hats off to you. You definitely have our support, our prayers, our continued prayers and support as you kind of move forward. But I'm grateful to have this conversation with you for sure.
Man, I appreciate y'all. Maybe y'all have me back next month when it's my myeloma action month, and we can raise some money for the International Myeloma Foundation and myeloma cancer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, for sure.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. All
Thank
right.
you so much. Thank you. Good luck with
Appreciate y'all.
everything. All
Thank you.
Have a
right.
good
Take
one.
care of yourself. You're welcome. You're welcome. So it's that was just that was just so inspiring for
Yeah.
me, and sometimes to be able to hear these stories, right? Because you never know what people are going
Yeah.
through. Um and sometimes you can't always look at someone and tell
You
what's
can't,
going
for
on if
sure.
they're not well or whatever the case may be. But he's still pushing, and God still is working with him, and he
Yeah.
still has a purpose. And I'm glad that he is sharing that purpose here in Wilmington, Delaware at the Queen. So be sure to go to the website. We put it in the chat. I know there's a couple corrections in the chat, but we did put it in the chat. And if we could bring the flyer up one more time so people can see, go and support. If you cannot attend, there's other ways to support this foundation. It is it's a good cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a
Absolutely.
it's a really good cause.
And and I would also just add in, like, take some of the jewels that he dropped out of this
Mm-hmm.
conversation, early detection, making sure that you're talking about this not only to your family, but also making sure that you're even talking to your coworkers about some of these things that are going
Absolutely.
on. Because people won't know what you're going through unless we start to get more familiar about talking about some of these things.
Yes.
Because, again, somebody that had a clean bill of health until they
Yeah.
didn't, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's super important, not only for us as Black and brown, but for men. I think it's
But
huge.
I don't want people to miss this too. He
Hmm.
said he went 2 years
Yeah.
before he was able to get the right diagnosis.
Yeah, that's true.
Right, which
Yeah.
tells me he didn't give up.
Yeah.
Right, they
No.
called him a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
They gave him other diagnoses, but he did not give up until he
Yeah.
got to the bottom of what was really going on.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
we have to advocate for
Ourselves.
ourselves.
Yes. Yeah.
The Black and brown community, we got to advocate for
Yeah. For
ourselves,
sure.
right? Do not give up on yourself. And he didn't,
Yeah.
and he's not giving up on you.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
try to support the best way that you can. It's important. It is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I would like to thank everyone for tuning in tonight.
Yes. Great
We
show.
are here every Monday night at 7 p.m. Again, this platform is really about normalizing conversation,
Yeah.
normalizing difficult conversation within our Black and brown community, and also normalizing mental health. Those of you that are new to the Rebirth Podcast, I am a mental health therapist, and I stand on that all day, that we have to make sure we have conversations within our community so we can heal. So we not only healing ourselves, but we're healing our community, we're healing our families, right? So it is time to come together. And as the brother said, and as we've been saying over the last couple episodes, if you do not have a relationship with God, it is time to get one.
Absolutely.
It is time to get one. And I'm serious about that. I'm not a preacher or anything, but I will stand on that. It is time. If you're walking around in this world and you don't have a relationship with God, I can only imagine how lonely you may be feeling right now. So if you have not done so, build a relationship, start a relationship. You don't have to go to church to start the relationship with God. You can start it right wherever you are. You can just start speaking to him right now in this moment, but you definitely need him. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to our podcast at Rebirth You Podcast, so you get alerts every time we come on air. We have some amazing content coming up.
We do.
And we also, as Corey mentioned, we have the Rebirth Live. This will be our 6th Rebirth Live, and we're doing it October 25th. We finally have a date, October 25th, 2025. Rebirth Live will be at Theater Inn, and we are going to be talking about healing our community and bringing our Black and Brown community together and having conversation about a lot of these things. So stay tuned. And thank you guys. Take care of yourselves. We love you. You got anything else?
No, I think everything that you just said, and I think your relationship with God, especially as we're how many days into this new year, right? And it doesn't have to be performative. I think you can just walk around in your kitchen and just talk.
Absolutely.
He's more focused on you having a conversation and a relationship than the way it looks. So but I agree. I'm excited that we have a date for Rebirth Live.
We have a date, October 25th.
Right. And I think that this one is going to be a little different than what we've done in the past. But this one is going to be definitely powerful. For sure.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Now, next week, we have Pastor Delisa Lewis will be on with us, and she's going to be talking about healing while in crisis. Okay. That will be our topic for next Monday. Healing while in crisis. And also we got Women's History Month that is coming up as well. So we are excited about, featuring these amazing women for the next 4 weeks on the Rebirth Podcast. You'll be meeting some amazing women in leadership here. So please come back. If this is your first time, please come back and see us again next Monday night. And you can always catch a recap of Rebirth Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And also on YouTube. All right. So until then, you guys have a blessed week. Thank you.
Later.
Have a good night.